We all know that time is really precious, and you don't have a lot of time to have long, unnecessary meetings. I also know that your time is really precious, and you don't have a lot of time to watch long, unnecessary videos. So I'm going to keep this really tight. I've got 6 great tips, and then one more extra tip at the end that really changed how I manage my meetings. So make sure you keep watching. The first key to a productive meeting is to set really clear expectations about what is the meeting even about? What's the purpose? How many meetings have you been to that are a set weekly meeting that is every single Monday at 10 o'clock, everybody traipses along with their coffee, has a bit of chit chat and not really a clear purpose for why they're meeting. Perhaps there's one item that clearly relates to you, but then the rest of the meeting is taken over by the usual suspects who start talking about something completely unrelated and take over the whole meeting, or perhaps deviate into what they did in the weekend. Now, as a leader, you are actually responsible for this. You are actually the one that these bored individuals are looking at and silently blaming for letting the meeting veer off course or making them sit there for an hour with no clear purpose. So this is on you to change. How many meetings have you had control or responsibility over that didn't really have a clear purpose? How comfortable are you to sit with that responsibility for 30 or 60 minutes, or please no, 2 hours, of your team's time if you didn't achieve something or move something forward within that period? Now, don't get me wrong, there is definitely room for meetings that are not about a specific purpose, and actually the whole purpose is about getting the team together and just having a bit of engagement. But that should actually be the plan. It shouldn't just be incidental. So tip number 1 is to set a really clear intentional purpose of what the meeting is going to be about, and then communicate that to all the individuals that are going to attend. This can help keep everybody focused and on track. Crafting a concise agenda is the second tip. Now, don't switch off because I said agenda. Just list the main topics that you would like to cover in the meeting, and then allocate a specific amount of time for each of those topics. Stick to this list religiously to avoid it going off track and deviating into some other tangent. If you set out a clear list of topics that are going to be covered and the amount of time you're going to spend on each, you can be really tight with your timing and your content. This helps you keep to time, and also means that if everybody knows there's only 5 minutes for a particular subject, they're less likely to start bringing it into a bigger conversation that is unrelated, because perhaps there's another topic that they really want to have time on, and then they don't want to waste it on some other thing that isn't that important to them. But a reminder, as the leader, you are responsible for keeping everybody on track. I have to admit that I am not great at sitting through a meeting and looking at the time and seeing that it's run over by 3 minutes and thinking, actually, I need to be somewhere else, or this was supposed to only be 30 minutes, why is it now 35? Or we're at item 2 and we only have 5 minutes to go, and the item I really want to be covered off is item 4, and I can see we're going to massively overrun. That is annoying. So I try to stay really focused in meetings with timings, so I don't do this to my team. Then you can keep the team on track with, hey, a gentle reminder, we've actually only got another minute left and we really need to cover off these items. Is there anything else you have to say right now? Otherwise, let's move it forward. Just helps keep people really focused. Now, I've been in leadership for over 17 years and have really built my career from leading 2 people to leading teams on multiple locations and leading leaders. And it has definitely taken some trial and error to get these meeting techniques right. Now, embrace technology is the third tip. Leverage tools like video platforms to collaborate with your teams and really streamline that whole process of having a meeting. I find that virtual meetings are often far more time effective than in-person meetings. Often the team is almost 100% on time, because depending on what platform you use, there's a wee notification that pops up when the meeting starts, so everybody gets it onto their machine and they can just click straight into the meeting. You also don't have to go anywhere, you're already at the meeting at your desk, and not to mention that chit chat that happens as you're walking into a meeting room or you're sitting down or you're getting settled actually takes up quite a bit of time. Now, there's a place for this, for sure. You cannot always have meetings that are very structured and very time related. But if you're doing this for every single meeting, you are definitely going to be wasting some valuable time. You will find there are other distractions in a remote meeting, such as the ease with which participants can actually message each other online during the meeting itself. Now, I have some tips for this in another video around remote leadership and how to ensure that your team stays engaged and focused and connected. I also have a free guide on remote leadership, so feel free to have a look at that in the description of this video. Now, tip number 4, if you're holding meetings in person, consider a stand-up meeting. This is really efficient if you have something that is just a quick 5-minute, I need to let you guys know this piece of news and I don't want to do it over a message. And if you make it so that everybody sort of stands around in one place, they're less likely to spend time getting settled. I don't want to be hanging around, I'm standing. I don't want to stand up for too long. Lots of people don't actually want to stand up for too long. So this is a really great way of just doing a really quick and efficient meeting. Tip number 5 is around those time limits again. So along with setting time limits for each topic that you want to discuss, I also recommend a really clear time limit for each meeting. Being really strict about sticking to that and ensuring that momentum is maintained throughout the meeting so you don't run over the meeting time that you've set aside. And it prevents one topic from taking over the whole thing. Another tip that I've devised is actually finishing the meeting at the quarter hour. So rather than thinking, okay, I need more than 30 minutes for this meeting, so I'm just automatically going to schedule an hour, I'll schedule it for 45 minutes. So I know I have slightly longer than that 30 minutes, but I also know I'm not going to spend the whole hour talking about something that probably doesn't need a whole hour, because an hour is actually quite a long time. And if I have an hour for a meeting, I'll use it. But if I have 45 minutes, I will be really set and structured and make sure that I'm really efficient with my time so that I don't run out of time at the end, which is why those setting time limits for each topic is really practical. I think the longer that we have, the longer that we'll use. So if I think, okay, for those really quick meetings, if I only need up to 15 minutes, I'll do a stand-up meeting, make it really efficient. For meetings that need a little bit longer, I'll just be really considered about how long I actually need. The 6th tip is create an environment where everybody feels comfortable. So this is about ensuring that everybody's going to share their insights and be okay about speaking up in the group. As the leader or the host of the meeting, this is on you. You have to ensure that you are observing the participation of each of your team members to make sure that you pick up on those really subtle cues where somebody might be hesitating, maybe wanting to say something, but not overtly putting their hand up and saying, hey, I've actually got something to contribute here, or actually speaking up. So it's really important that as the leader, you actually check in with each person and say, hey, you look like you had something to add there. Did you want to share anything? And also keeping an eye on those who perhaps dominate the conversation more than others. So making sure that you're observing them and perhaps pulling them back a little bit gently if you need to make sure that their voice isn't the only voice that's heard in the meeting and everybody gets to collaborate and there is a balanced contribution across the team. Now, the tip that really changed my meeting strategy and really improved things for me is tip number 7. Keep your attendee list lean and mean. Only invite those who actually truly need to be there. Smaller meetings tend to be more efficient and allow for more focused conversations. Why was that such a game changer for me? I was in an environment where everybody attended every meeting. It was considered their way of collaboration. This could mean that you invite 5 people and you end up with 15 because somebody invites somebody else and so on. The opportunity to actually make decisions and ensure that you're keeping focused about what the purposes of the meeting gets more and more difficult the more people that are added into the conversation. If you come from an environment where inclusivity is the primary focus, think of some other ways to collaborate that can ensure that everybody's voice is heard without needing everybody at every single meeting every time. So it could be another way of communicating outcomes or getting input on decisions. It also means that if you only invite the people that really need to be there, it keeps the meeting on track. And in the vast majority of times, if only those who need to be there attend, it's generally because they have information or they need information to make a decision. So they're really invested in doing so, and it keeps the meeting really focused. Remember, time is a valuable resource, and by implementing these 7 tips, you too can be more efficient in your meetings. Thanks for watching.